Is my persuasive speech. I want to start off with a few questions so I can get to know you guys a little bit better. Think back through all of your years of schooling, even at your jobs, no matter where. How many of you have ever felt like you've been bullied in any capacity? Raise your hand. Okay, most raise your hand. Now, how many of you feel like you've ever been a bully, whether unintentional or intentional? We're all friends, raise your hand. You got two hands up, I like it. Alright, so today I'm going to talk to you about a growing problem that it's not a new problem, but it's increasing, and that is of bullying and the different variations of bullying. But more importantly, I want to propose to you that we put an anti-bullying program in each one of our schools and after-school programs in all age groups. When I did a little bit of research, I found a lot of shocking statistics. Even I found them to be shocking. According to BullyingStatistics.org, 160,000 children miss school every day for fear of being bullied in some way, shape, or form. And it's kind of funny, but not really funny. We always talk about how much school that I missed growing up, and a lot of the reasoning behind that was because I was picked on a lot. In my earlier years, middle school, into high school, I was bullied for everything. I mean, I was 5'3", barely, with size 13 shoe. They called me clown boy. I wore glasses. I had a little flip in my hair, which is cool, not judging. And so I experienced bullying a lot. So when I hear that statistics, I know exactly what it feels like to not want to go to school for fear of what can happen when you go. Another statistic that I thought was incredible was, according to StompOutBullying.org, every 7 minutes a child is bullied. And they did a breakdown of intervention, and only 4% of those involved adult intervention, 11% involved peer intervention, 85% had no intervention whatsoever. So not only are our children being bullied, but there's nobody there to help them, or nobody who's trained and equipped to help them. And with the rise of technology, with social media sites, text messaging, just all these different forms of impersonal communication, has arisen a new type of bullying known as cyberbullying. And cyberbullying is even worse because there's usually not a face behind that. It's, people, they don't even have to be the normal junkyard or schoolyard bully that, is bigger than you. They can be anybody who has access to a keyboard that will bully, pick on you, call you names. There's sexting, there's all sorts of problems that have arisen with technology. While it is a good thing, it still has opened these many doors for kids to not have any escape from bullying whatsoever. Antibullying.org states that 1 in 5 students between the ages of 11 and 18 admits to being cyberbullied at some point, and surprisingly, that same statistic admit to cyberbullying somebody else. So as we see there's kind of a cycle where a lot of times people that are bullied will turn around and bully somebody else. And with all the different avenues that bullying can occur, it's becoming easier and more prominent that that is occurring. And then we have kids that take it into their own hands, and we hear about this a lot, about violence in schools and school shootings. The National Education Association states that 86% of students say other kids picking on them, making fun of them, or bullying them causes teenagers to turn to lethal violence in the schools. We know that we see a rise in school shootings, and Make Beats, Not Beat Down states that harassment and bullying have been linked to 75% of school shootings. That's incredible. I mean, if we look at how just horrible and horrendous these school shootings are, and we're able to trace it back to somebody who maybe just didn't have any other outlet and this was what it built up to be, we need to have something in place for every student so that they don't feel alone. Another consequence or effect of bullying is suicide. And we hear about it all the time. We hear about attempted suicides or people that have actually committed suicide. And BullyingStatistics.org also says that bully victims are between 2 to 9 times more likely to consider suicide than non-victims. And this was a study done by Yale University. Now, these shocking statistics show that bullying is a growing issue and needs to be addressed. Thankfully, there is a way to help everyone involved in this abuse and make an impact on our next generation so they don't feel as helpless and that this doesn't continue to grow out of control. The solution, I feel, would be to put an anti-bullying program in each one of our schools and after schools. this would affect 3 different types of people. First, it will affect the victims of bullying. It will give them hope, let them know that they're not alone. It will instill value in them, give them somebody to turn to. We don't know what their family life is like. You know, they're not necessarily always just getting bullied at school. They may go home to something, and they may truly feel like they have no place to go. By doing this, it empowers them and allows them to take control of their own lives with a support system that's in place. The next group would be the bullies themselves. A lot of times, bullies either don't realize that they're doing it, or they come from a hard life, and they're just passing it on to somebody else. And I know when I started bullying other people, I didn't even realize I was doing it. I was so used to it happening to me that it just seemed natural for it to be pushed on to somebody else, and it almost helped me say, well, you know, I'm not doing as bad as this person is, but that person deserved it. And, you know, by having a program in place with, you know, curriculum and information and just the right people, maybe people like myself and you that have admitted that, you know, you felt the effects of bullying, we could help that generation not to bully other people. And last but not least, the faculty and parents. There's a lot of people that wish that they could help, but they feel helpless. You know, I don't know what I would say to them, or how do I get involved without, you know, really being involved. Well, if we had a group and a structure in place that, you know, parents and faculty volunteered to be in these schools, A, it would help with the cost of this programming, but B, it would just help them to be involved. And, you know, I would love to share my story with other kids that have maybe gone through the same thing. Maybe are short with big feet and glasses and the flippy hair. You know, I might see a kid that looks exactly like myself, and I'm able to say, hey, look, it gets better, and here's how, you know, we can help you get out of this. So if we can have a program that brings all of them together, you know, it would help everybody not to feel helpless and hopeless in each of their own capacities. And what I wanted to do is leave you with one little scenario that I saw this and it really spoke volumes to me. I have a $20 bill here. By a show of hands, how many of you would love this $20 bill right now? Yep, everybody raised their hand. Some people are raising feet. So, now what if I took this $20 bill and I crumpled it up as bad as I could? And I mean, it was all just a little ball. I mean, it was so crinkled. It didn't look as pretty as it did when it first came out of the bank. How many of you would still want this $20 bill? Now, what if I took it, I crumpled it up, I put it on the ground, my dirty feet, I stomped on it, and I kicked it all around? How many of you would still want this $20 bill? Now, see, everybody wants this $20 bill, except for one person because he doesn't like my feet. But the message that we can get from this is no matter what I did to this $20 bill, it never loses its value. It's always just as valuable as the day it was made, as the, you know, what it was meant to be. It's always going to be a $20 bill. By a program such as an anti-bullying program, we can instill that same value in our kids. That no matter what they've been through, no matter what's happened to them, no matter what they've done to other people, they'll never lose that value. And, you know, that's something that we should pass on. And in some way, shape, or form, with or without these programs, I'm hoping each one of you can go out and find one person that you can instill that same value in this next week. Thank you. I appreciate it. Now, does anybody have any questions? Yes.
John, I was wondering, have you seen any results from reaching out to young people who've been bullied? I know that you have had a chance to share your story. Have you seen any positive results from reaching into the lives of young people?
Absolutely. Through the time that I was able to share my story to different students, I had a large amount of those that were victims and those that were bullies even come forward to me. And you know, they love to know that they're not alone because it is a very lonely feeling. And the ones that are bullied, or the bullies themselves really started to think about what they were doing. And unfortunately, those were very quick encounters. And so I'm hoping that it continued, but I know that in a more structured, long-term place, that we could really see a change in that rate. As a matter of fact, I didn't include it in this because I couldn't get statistical background behind it, but I did see that in the Netherlands, they did an anti-bullying program in all of their elementary schools, and the ones that had the program versus the control group saw a 25% change in the amount of bullying that went on, and that was just one small community. So
that's awesome. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I know you've practiced the martial arts personally. Would you suggest that to people that are being bullied?
Absolutely. I think that gives you a great amount of confidence. Before doing martial arts, I used to fight everybody, and surprisingly enough, since learning a martial art, I have not had to use it, but I have more confidence in how I carry myself. And I think that's the most important part, regardless of, done in the right context where they're not, thinking they're trained assassins. A student that does take martial arts will greatly benefit from that added confidence, added structure, and just having the people in their lives that are showing the value that they have, as they move up through the ranks.